sit there and take abuse and be spat upon, hit in the head with clubs, stone, ugly words thrown at you, and keep your dignity and remain nonviolent. I was one of those people who said that if anyone ever did that to me, I'd stab them in the eye. I'd hit them in the head with a brick. But that's because I was frightened. I was too frightened to go down to Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. I was too scared to sit in the church at night and plan meetings. I was too frightened to be a part of that. But if it wasn't for you people who were down there and did that, believe me, I know in my heart that I wouldn't be here today.
Hey man, you know what it is, man. Shout out to Fried Time Media.
Fried Time Media.
Make sure you go subscribe. You did.
Fried Time Media, baby.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Fried Time Media. Smash the subscribe and the like button.
I done ran up all these bands up in hand and made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up in hand and made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, it ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me.
What's going on, y'all? So tonight, we're talking about the courage that it takes to fight for black people. It's Black History Month, so we have to acknowledge and remember our good brother, Booker Wright. If you don't know who he is, stay tuned and I'll educate you. Also, we have to give a quick salute to Kendrick Lamar for that fantastic Super Bowl performance that he recently put on, where he acknowledges the delineation movement, saying there's a cultural divide, we're going to get it on the flow. And he also even calls for reparations, saying 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than music. It's crazy the times we're living in and the consciousness that is spreading amongst foundational black Americans. We are unifying, we are waking up, and we are calling loudly, proudly, and boldly for reparations. But with that being said, check out this clip to remember our good brother Booker Wright.
Although you're crying on the inside, are you wondering what else can I do? Sometimes you tip you, sometimes you say, I'm not gonna tip that nigga, you don't look for no tip. Yes sir, thank you. What did you say? Come back, be glad to take care of you. Don't talk to him like that. That's a good nigga. That's my nigga. Oh yes sir, boss, I'm your nigga. I'm trying to make a living. Why? I got 3 children. I want them to get an education. I wasn't fortunate enough to get an education, but I want them to get it. And they are doing good. Night after night, I lay down and I dream about what I had to go through with. I don't want my children to have to go through with that. I want them to be able to get the job that they be qualified for. That's what I'm struggling for. I don't want this and I don't want that, but I just don't want my children to have to go through what I go through with. Hey, tell that nigga to hurry up with that coffee. I'm on my way. So that's what you have to go through with. But remember, you have to keep that smile.
Now, what you just watched wasn't just a man speaking his truth. It was an act of extraordinary bravery. See, Booker Wright was a waiter at a whites-only restaurant in Greenwood, Mississippi. And every night he had to put on a smile and recite a rehearsed script to please his white customers. But deep down, that smile was a mask. It was a survival tactic and a system designed to humiliate and oppress him. In 1966, Booker took off that mask for a national audience. He told the truth about what it meant to be a black man living under Jim Crow. Now, he knew the risks, and the price he paid was devastating. He was fired from his job. His cafe, which was a sanctuary for the black community, was firebombed, and he faced relentless threats. 7 years later, in 1973, Booker was mysteriously murdered. Officially, it was said to be unrelated, but many believe his death was the result of the courage he showed that night on television. Now the thing is, the system Booker spoke out against did not just disappear. Many who lived through the pain and humiliation of segregation are still alive and well today. They've never received justice, and reparations aren't just about repairing the past. They're about ensuring a future where the courage of people like Booker Wright isn't in vain. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing to honor his sacrifice? And what are we doing to finish the work he risked everything to start? He said it himself, everything, all of his sacrifices and everything he was enduring to that point was done because he wanted a better future for his children.
And the struggle continues. In 2025, we see Kendrick Lamar using his voice to call for reparations on the biggest stage known to man, the Super Bowl halftime show, where he got over 133 million views. 133 million viewers listening to Kendrick Lamar say, 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than music. So the purpose of this video is to really encourage and motivate anyone who considers themselves a friend or an ally of Black Americans to stand firmly on our reparations claim. Right now is not the time to shy away or avoid those difficult conversations, because we know there are people out there who do not support reparations or who might not understand why it's so necessary now in 2025. But you have to understand there are people who are still alive. 1966 was not that long ago. The man Booker Wright was killed in 1973, and many people believe it was because of that interview he did. There are people who, my pops, for example, born in 1950, who are still alive well today. We need reparations not only to repair the harm which was caused from the theft of life and property in the past, but we need to ensure that our kids and the next generation don't have to put up with the same fights and divides that we historically, to this day in 2025, continue to fight. We need reparations for closure in that chapter of American history so that moving forward, we can all come together on one accord. But hey, that's just what I think. If I got it wrong, as always, leave it in the comments section. If you agree with the message that I'm advocating on this channel, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate y'all supporting me in the algorithm. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to smash the subscribe button for more content just like this. All right, guys, that's it. Oh, by the way, be sure to check out the description on this video. I've got new affiliate links. I'm an Amazon influencer now, so I've got some Amazon links available for you. I'm an author, so if you want to check out my book, The Chronicles of Big Mistake, the link will be in the description. All right, so check that stuff out. Support the channel. That being said, check out this bonus footage, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was a masterclass in capturing a cultural moment and making socially relevant commentary entertaining for a mass audience. But I want to zero in on one line that I'm seeing a lot of chatter about, and that is his comment on 40 acres and a mule. Sherman participates in the March to the Sea, taking orders from General Ulysses Grant to seize Atlanta and Savannah, Georgia, essentially splitting Confederate forces in half and breaking the South. This march, ultimately, is one of the deciding factors of the war. It crushes the Southern industrial base in Atlanta. It leaves this 6-mile wide swatch of burned earth as Sherman just rips up everything that's not bolted down, seizes everything that is on the land, considering it war materials to supply his army, and most notably, liberating every slave between he and Savannah, Georgia. Now, these slaves had nowhere to go, and freedmen didn't want to stay on the plantations that were basically gone by the time Sherman was done with them. And so what happens is a lot of them take their families and join Sherman's baggage train. They become support staff and some even fighting men for Sherman's army, newly liberated and paid employees of the U.S. government. And Sherman, over the course of his march, comes to respect them, comes to admire them, and comes to understand them in ways that he hadn't before. He proposes a form of payment, a bonus that would be paid out at the end of the war as a way to thank them for their service for his army and begin a process of restoring the South to some sense of normal order without a dominant planter class that monopolized all the land. Hence, 40 acres and a mule. The plan is simple. Divide former slave plantation land into 40-acre plots and then divide the pack animals on that land into sections that you could place one pack animal per plot and then place the families, those formerly enslaved people now freed, on that land that they would own. Lincoln likes the idea, and there's a lot of chatter in Congress among the radical Republicans about how to best hold the South accountable and bring African Americans, newly citizenized, into the Union as full citizens, as full economic participants, as free people. And Sherman's idea of starting them off with some land they're already familiar with, land they already know how to work, would be a great way to get them a way to build wealth and build a life for themselves. And then Lincoln goes down. Lincoln is taken down by John Wilkes Booth, and his vice president does the old switcheroo. Andrew Johnson rug pulls a lot of the promises Lincoln had made and a lot of the promises that his generals had made to the fighting men who served under them. The 40 acres and a mule order was dropped early, and families found themselves from owning land very briefly to being evicted off it, and the planter class returned to near full power. What replaces this early form, this early experiment of reparations for the damage of slavery is the sharecropping and convict leasing system that reinforced slavery and brought it back with a new guise. The 13th Amendment outlaws slavery officially, except under one condition: as punishment for a crime. Therefore, those that had not committed crimes but found themselves unhoused and unemployed wound up in sharecropping operations, going back to underpaid menial labor on the plantations that used to own them. And those who could be convicted under drummed up, often completely fictitious charges found themselves literally re-enslaved into the prison industrial complex that was selling these workers out, literally renting their labor to plantations, to lumber operations, and to coal mining plants. Kendrick managed to talk the NFL into paying for a protest song, and it, like so much of his work, brings this historical weight behind it and demands us to pay attention to the world around us and how much has changed and
turn myself to a cash cow. Mama told me she loved me. I look just like my dad now. Might take a trip out to Japan now. 200 in front of the dash now. Design all the way from the chest down. Do all of my own any handouts. Niggas faking this man down. Hey. Grinding trying to find me a way out. Hey. Nigga faking this man down. Hey. Grinding trying to find me a way out.